Hmm.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So now we'll start with Express.js, which is again a third-party package that is a very lightweight web server. So yeah. It is a very lightweight framework for building web servers. So what are web servers? So web servers are nothing but servers that basically respond to a request. So whenever we open our browser and let's say type in a website of any name, it sends a request onto the server, and that server basically processes that request and sends it back to the user. So basically what Express does is basically it provides a framework where we can use in our node project to basically handle this request and then respond to it accordingly. So basically uh, Express.js has a lot of other uh, things as well, like middlewares and next functions and a lot of other things which we will be covering today. So to start with Express, what we are going to do is basically install it. And also since we're not going to use TypeScript today, I'll be using normal JavaScript only. So what we'll do is just delete this and delete our configuration file, and create a simple index file inside our src folder and change our entry point to src slash index.js. To start, we'll type in node src slash index.js, which is going to basically start our JavaScript, run a JavaScript file over here, which will then import the required files in here, and we don't require this command anymore. So now we'll go ahead and install Express.js. So sorry, to install it, we'll just simply run npm install Express. Okay. So now Express is installed. Next is we have to import it over here. So to import a third-party package or a third-party module that we haven't created, the syntax remains the same. We have to import it like this, like a constant or a var or a let, whatever you want to use, that's fine. But I would suggest that you use constant so that accidentally you do not reassign that particular variable. So we'll just type in like this express, sorry, once express equals to, then require express. Now, so basically this is now we've uh, imported the express module into our project. To now create an application that we call as express application, what we need to do is again define a variable. We'll name it as app, and then we'll just call this function, because what this particular module exports is a function that is named as express, and then that function returns an express application, which is over here. So now we can use this application to handle our request and responses. Now, to understand different types of requests and responses, uh, we need to understand what are the different types. So basically, we have a lot of types nowadays, but the four major types that we call as CRUD, CRUD, that is, and used for CRUD are uh, get, post, put, and delete method. So get request. So we define it like this: a get request, a post request, a put request, or a this thing delete request. So we name it like that. So whenever we get a get request from a client, a get request has a does not has a body. So basically, whenever you send a request from a user to the server using your web application, there are different uh, you know parts in which a request is sent. So the two main parts are header and body. So header contains some useful information regarding your client application that is sending the request, and some uh, you know uh, information regarding the data that is being sent from client to the server. So header is the content length. It has different encoding formats that your application is using, and it has a lot of other information. So these are the two parts. So whenever you send a get request does not have a body. It only has headers, and the parameters, or the queries are taken from the URL itself. So basically, I'll show an example of a get request right now, and then we'll take example of these four types one after another. So for now, to create a get request, what we need to do is app, then type in dot get, and uh, put in the path of where we want to get this request, and this path is relative to your server URL. So let's say right now your server is currently hosted at xyz.com. So whenever I type in get and a slash, it means this particular request is going to come onto our server at xyz.com only. If I pass in something else, let's say yzq, so I am assuming that this particular request is going to be handled when a request is sent from the user onto URL xyz.com/yzq. Okay, so right now I just create a simple request onto on this particular URL, and then we have a second parameter as a function. So basically, this is a method that we are calling, which is a get method, and the first parameter is the path name. Second parameter is a function. So in JavaScript, basically you can pass an entire function inside a function. So this is allowed in JavaScript, and it is also allowed in different other scripts, but in a different ways. So it is not directly allowed to pass a function into a function in C++ and all. You have to create an action or something like, but that is fine. So basically, inside this, we can pass an entire function with the parameters specified by this get method. So if a function, and we don't have to name it. It is not required that you name this function. You just type in the keyword function and then put two parentheses, and then first parameter is request, another parameter is response, and then the curly brackets. So now what happens internally inside Express is whenever we get a request onto this particular path, this function is called with these two parameters inside it. So now we can access these two parameters over here. So what I'll do is basically print this request, console.log request, and then we'll send in response. So this is the response object, and this is the request object. You can name it whatever you want. Okay, in JavaScript, it is you can name it whatever you want. There is nothing, no restrictions in naming the past parameters over here. So you can name it whatever you want. I usually prefer naming it as request and response, like REQ stands for request, RES stands for response. And so basically, if I just console this request, this is the entire request that we've received from the user onto our server, and now we are supposed to send some response. We can do all our calculations we want to do inside this function and then send a response, which will then send a send then to the user. So to send it, we have to do is response dot send, and inside that we can type in anything like okay or request received or whatever response you want to send. You can send an entire HTML file over here. You can send whatever you want inside this send method, and it will send it to the user. So I'll just send this thing request received. So now this is done. So now what we want to do is run our server. So to run the server, we have to listen onto a certain port. So basically, whenever you create an application or whatever application you're running on a PC wants to connect to the outside world, it has to run on a certain port. So basically, port 80 is used for server. So whenever you type over here inside browser, let's say google.com or whatever, this is node.js.org, it usually sends a request. Your browser will send a request to the port 80 on node.js.org. So that is where you send a request. So if you want to send a request onto some other port, what you got to do is type a colon and then pass the port number, and then you just can send a request, which is going to be rejected or accepted depending upon the server. So that is fine. So in our case, we'll start listening. App.listen is a function that is called to make your application listen onto a certain port. So, and there's a callback over here. And there are different other parameters like path, handle, and all. But the first parameter that we are going to use over here is the port number, which I'm going to number as 7500. You can number it whatever you want from 0 to 65,535. This is the range of the port available ports, and usually you should not use ports less than 1000 because most of them are reserved. So like port 80 is reserved, then port 22 is reserved for SSH, then port 25 reserved for SMTP servers, and there are different ports that are reserved for a specific type of servers, a specific type of response from a server. So those ports should not be running on your application. Your application should not be running on those ports because they might create conflicts. So we just listen on to port 7500, and then we just pass a callback function which will be called when our application starts listening, and then we just print onto our console that console.log server is running on port 7500. So this is it. So now what will happen is whenever you send a request, this function will be called, and this function basically starts listening. So you might be having doubt that how is it possible to get a request before listening onto the server. So this is not what is happening over here. What is happening is that this function is only being called when a user makes a request onto this particular path. Otherwise, this is just a definition that is being given to your application that please perform this particular function whenever you get a request onto this. So let's say after I've started listening, user sends a request onto this particular path. So your application now knows that if I get this particular path, I have to run this function. Okay. So then it will run this function, and it will basically console the log, or console to the log the request, and send the response. And that's it. So now let's just start our application and try it. So to do this, it's very simple. Just run the application, and since we've created a script over here, we've created a script for starting our server, which is this node, then src slash index.ts is going to run this file, which in turn starts listening onto the server. So we'll do is npm run start. Uh, oh, I'm sorry. I've given a wrong extension over. It's js and not ts. Yeah. So now our console says that our server is running on port 7500. So now if you go onto our browser and search for localhost. So basically localhost represents your own computer. So whenever you make a request onto the localhost, your web browser will make a request onto a server that is running on your own PC, which is in our case. So, and we'll specify the port number, that is this. So, um, this is Oh yeah. So there was an issue with my computer because I just had to press enter key. Uh, so this is the entire request object that we've received from the user that browser is sent. So you can see it's the incoming message. There are a lot of things that are created by Express itself from reading the request, and the part of request have been added over here. So basically browser does not send all these things onto the Express server, but basically whatever browser sends onto the Express server, it basically parses it and basically creates this particular object with respect to the request it has received. So it has lot of things over here. Like this is the basic. These are the headers that we've received. So it has the host, that is 7500. Then it has a lot of other parameters like accepting the encoding, the language, and a lot of other things. And yeah, that's it. So these are the headers, and we've received a response over here, that is request received. Now so basically this is how the get request works. So now we have other forms of request like post request, then put request, and delete request. So now we'll go ahead and check the post request. So now basically inside the get request we cannot send a body. So like we have our request.body, which is empty inside the get request. Our get request does not have a body, so you cannot send something inside the get request that you want to put it on the server. You either have to send it using URL. You have to send it either inside the URL, or you have to use a post request. So for example, let's say I want to create a user. So sending username and password inside this particular URL is not, is bad. Is Means that your app is having a bad security because it is displaying users username and password into the Windows URL bar. Instead, it should have displayed it inside. Uh, it should have sent it inside the post body or put body. So uh, to create a post function, similarly we just have to write post, like app.post. So it will now check for post request with a slash, and then this particular function over here is same. We'll also print, but over here we'll just print request.body instead of the entire request. Then we will send request received. Now if I rerun this program over here, so if I just rerun this program over here right now with npm run start, and if I make a request again over here, it will give me an error. Then you cannot make a get request onto slash. So this is because whenever you put a request over here or a URL over here, it sends a get request only to your server and no other request. So whenever you type in a URL, a get request is received on your server. So whenever you want to send an HTML page or something like that, which is directly accessible to the user, then you are supposed to make it a get request and then send a response as your HTML content. Uh, uh, Send HTML content to the user uh, based on the URL that user is entering, like something slash some other path and like that. So this is the so this is not how we send a post request. To send a post request, we need Postman. So Postman is nothing but a program that basically simulates your request onto the server, and you can send bodies and a lot of other parameters inside it. So to install Postman, you guys can just type in Postman, and there's an official site over here. You can go ahead and download it from here. Uh, you guys need to create an account with Postman. It is now compulsory. You just go ahead and create an account, and then you can download it. It's free for you to use it on your local PC and for testing purposes. So I'll just go ahead and uh, I don't have it. Oh, cool, I'll install it. Mark. Um, just go ahead and download this app. It's free. Okay. So basically, we'll create first request over here. We'll send a post request onto your server using this post method. Then we'll type in the URL http hyphen localhost and then inside body we'll send some random text. Let's say hello, or we can send a JSON object as well, like this. And send a request. So now we've received as request received, but we won't be able to see our body over there inside our Express application. It says undefined because we need something to read the body for us from the request sent from the user. Express by default won't do it for us because there are different ways in which a person can send a body. Body can be only text, or it can be a JSON object, or it can be binary data, it can be a base64 data, it can be in a lot of different formats. So in order to parse that, we have one more module that we are going to use, which is body parser, which is basically used to parse the content of the body. Depending upon the content we are assuming that we are going to receive. So to do that, we'll just go ahead and install body parser. npm install body parser. Okay, so now since body parser is installed, we are going to use it as a middleware. So now coming on to the middlewares. So middlewares are nothing but the functions that are going to be called before the actual function that is going to process your request is called. So what I mean over here is, so if I write app.use, use is nothing but it's going to use this particular function for any request. Let it be post, let it be get, let it be any type of request. If you use app.use, it is going to call the function regardless of the type of the method, and then you can either pass in the path after which this like you can specify the path which your application should call this function which are going to pass, or you can keep it blank for all the requests that you have like you're getting on your server, like this. Sorry, function, then request response, like this. So basically, every time a request is coming onto our server, this function is going to be called first. Whatever we process over here is then going to go to this. Like we can alter our request object over here. Let's say request dot something, some variable equals to some value, and then we'll be able to access it over here using request dot that particular variable name. Okay, so this is how middlewares work. So middlewares are nothing but a function that are called prior to the prior to the function that is going to actually handle your request. So to basically parse our body, what we are going to do is first import body parser. That is we are going to require it. So we'll just type in body parser equals to and then require body parser. So now we have uh, imported our body parser into our script. So to use it, we can do is body parser dot JSON. So now what we've done over here is we've assumed that we are going to receive only JSON data inside the body, and our this particular middleware is going to parse it for us. So after that, we'll be able to use it over here. Okay. we'll just go ahead again and run our script by typing npm run start, and then we'll send a request from our postman again. And now we've received an empty body because this is not a JSON type. Like, yes, you can see it is a it seems like JSON, but that over here it's text. So we have to change it to JSON. Like the headers that are sent onto your server would be of type text instead of type JSON. So whenever you send headers like this, see, content type right now it's application.json. If I change it over here inside the body and change it to text, the header type is going to be text as plain, which our body parser won't be accepting, won't be reading, because it is not something we specified. So now we've changed to JSON and then we send a request. So and again there's the same issue with my command line. So now we've received the body that we had sent from our postman and to our console over here. So that is on our server. So now we can process this particular part and send corresponding response to the user. Uh, so now next is the put method. Even put method has a body. So the difference between a put method and a post method is that put method is usually used to replace the entire content of the particular object. Like let's say I'm having a user database and I want to create a new user. So I'll send a put request because I want to either create a new user or I want to put an entire entry into my database. So that's where a put method is used. But if I use a post method, it is generally used to update. So like if I have if I already have a user in my database and I want to change his or her name, so what I can do is send a post request by only including the name and some unique identification or some unique ID that points to that particular user. So what I will do on my server is use that ID to find that user and then just change the name of the user. So what I do is send ID and name inside the body, and then that two things will be used to update that user and not to change the entire content of the user. The rest of the content that is inside the user, let's say date of birth and email address, phone number, etc., that is onto our user database will remain as it is. Only name will be altered. But in case of put, what we do is we entirely replace the existing user object with the new data that we've received from the request. So there's no compulsion like that input request you cannot update your object, but that is the convention that is followed. Like that is why the put request has been made, so that you can replace the object, and the post request was introduced to update the object. Okay, so basically when you want to create a CRUD operation, that is create, read, delete and uh, update. So to perform these particular operations, these four types of methods are introduced. So that is why we basically use we basically use put to completely replace the object and post to update that object. So that is it with the put request. We also try this put request once. Now if again send a request, our server says that we cannot send a post request because our server is currently not accepting any post requests onto this particular path. It is only accepting put request. So basically this is how it is used. This is the reason it is created, so that you can have different types of requests for different types of operations. So like you might be having doubts like we can use post as well as put request. You can just use put request to do both the things, like to update the user as well as create the new user. But whenever you get a request, you don't know whether you have to create this user or update this user. You have no idea when you're getting the request. You might have to specify explicitly inside the body or inside the path that you want to either create or this create or update this user. But with this post and put request, it is pre-assumed that when you get a post put request, you are supposed to create a new object or you are supposed to replace the object. And whenever you say post request, you are supposed to update this object. So you're going to look for a unique ID inside the body, and accordingly you will update the object. So that is yeah. So we'll now change this to put and again send a request, and we've received the response over here that we had sent from here. And the delete request also doesn't have a body. So inside delete, you can use parameters inside this function to uh, you know uh, to delete that particular object. Like you can send id inside the url, and then you can use that id to delete the object. So let's say delete, and let's say I want to delete some object with some id, and I want to get that id from the url. So what I can do is create either a parameter. A parameter is nothing but a placeholder inside the url. So let's say we have a url, let's say xyz.com slash let's some id, and then some other part of the url, or maybe you don't have anything, you have xyz.com slash id. So there's a placeholder id after xyz.com. So to parse that, we have this notation. So whenever you want to specify a placeholder, you do it like this inside express, and now you will be able to read this particular id over here using request dot params, and then inside that dot id. So this is going to then print the id that we type in over here. So let's just restart the server and see what happens. Again the server is running, and now we send a delete request, and we send it with some id, let's say xyz. And the body, if you are keeping it away, it will be by default ignored by postman, that since delete request will not support a body inside it. So you can just send the request, and we've received request received. And if we go to our console, we'll see that id that we had passed over here along with our url is here. Like it has extracted this part from the url. So we can pass anything, like we can give any id over here. And we've received it over here. So that's it for this for different types of requests. Now uh, hmm. So next we'll create a basic REST API using some static data on our server. Uh, so we'll create some data, and then accordingly we'll create a REST API that will do put and post request and get request onto the data that is onto a file. So we'll create a simple JSON file. Let's say data.json, and we'll create a user database that is static and not onto some database. So we'll have an array. So array is defined by two square brackets, and then inside it we'll have different user objects. So let's have an object which has name. Let's say, and then has email, some random phone number, and we'll just copy this and create some 5 6 users. Okay, so this is a small database that we've created. So now we'll be making request onto this, and also we'll create some random IDs. We'll just number it, like, instead of, so that we can refer to certain user with those IDs.
Rusha, can you take a break after 10 minutes?
Yes, sure, yes, sure. Uh, okay. So let's do one thing. We'll take a break right now only, and after that we'll start with creating the server. Okay. We'll take a break of 10 minutes.